so desires.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr Speaker, and it was a very nice Saturday lunch here in Wellington, I can assure you, it's not often we have lunch in Wellington, but it was most pleasant. But it did rob me of the chance when I was in full flight telling the story, of one Mr Stephen Joyce, who was a member at the time was a member of the opposition, and then he became the transport minister, who then he represents the National Party. He has not ever been elected to anything himself. He's not actually ever stood in an election himself, but he does have a huge amount of influence in the National Party. And that one Mr Stephen Joyce lives in the area of Rodney, just north of the North Shore, and was the Minister of the Transport at the time when he cancelled proposed regional fuel tax in Auckland, which was going to help to provide a huge amount of self-sufficiency for Auckland in its transport woes, in terms of not only its roading but also its public transport. And it is ironic, Mr Speaker, somewhat ironic, that something like 4 or 5 years later, when the national government is now saying they need more money for roads of national party political significance, that's what they're called now, roads of national party political significance, that they are now putting in place an excise tax on fuel, starting on the 1st of July, of 3 cents a litre, going up every July 1st next year, another 3 cents a litre, the year after another 3 cents a litre. They see fit now to charge every single New Zealander all over this country another 9 cents a litre, but the Honourable Stephen Joyce, when he was the Minister of Transport, could not see any merit in the Aucklanders having a regional fuel tax of their own to help pay for their own. And it is ironic that on the 18th of December 2012, Jerry Brownlee, the current Minister of Transport, said the series of July increases will also ready the Land Transport Fund for investment in Upper North Island transport projects beyond the Roads of National Significance program. So basically, most of this money is going to be going into roads north of Hamilton. Hamilton and north, that's where they're mainly going. There's a little bit in Wellington, a little bit down in token amount in Christchurch, but the bulk of it is going north of Hamilton. And so Mr Speaker, as I said earlier, the people in Dipton, in Mr Bill English's area, where Bill English has his holiday home down there at Dipton, where he visits occasionally, and where he maybe this recess might perhaps be visiting. But the people of Dipton, a small population down there, every single one of the people of Dipton will, as of the 1st of July, be paying another 3 cents a litre for their fuel, another 3 cents a litre in Dipton, to help pay for roads in Hamilton and north and in Auckland and north of Auckland. And I'm sure the people in Bill English, the Minister of Finance's electorate, the Minister of Finance electorate down there, they must be thrilled with that. They must be absolutely chuffed. And they must be chuffed to think that in 12 months' time after that they can look forward to another 3 cents on top of that. And that they can look in 2 years' time to another 3 cents. They must be chuffed, because down in Dipton, they must be thinking, boy, we must be going to get some really good roads in Dipton out of all these extra taxes that our Member of Parliament, Bill English, is going to charge us. We must be going to get some super highways in Dipton. We must be going to get some wide arterials. We must be going to get some 4-lane highways in Dipton. Not on your life, Dipton. You are not going to get a single thing out of this Minister of Finance or out of this Minister of Transport. All you're going to get, Dipton, is another 9 cents a litre. And so when you travel and drive down to Invercargill, when you travel and go up to Queenstown, when you go over to Dunedin, every time you take a car journey, the people of Dipton remember that you're paying more money to get there and more money to get back to Dipton, because this Minister of Finance and this Minister of Transport determined that you would help pay for the roads north of Hamilton. But what I would encourage you to do, if you are in Dipton, maybe take a drive up to the North Island. Drive up to the North Island, get to Hamilton, and when you finally get to Hamilton and you get onto some of these roads of National Party political significance, make the most of it. Probably I would suggest you drive between Hamilton and Auckland and around. Do it 4 or 5, 6 or 7 times while you're up there, because it's a long way from Dipton long way from Dipton to drive up to north of Hamilton. When you get there, make the most of it, because you might only do it once in a lifetime when you've taken your car all the way from Dipton to go up there to pay for those roads. So when you get them, Diptonites, are they called Diptonites? Diptonites? They are not dipsticks, they are Diptonites. That's most appalling. There's only one dipstick from Dipton. There's only one. So Diptonites, go up to the North Island, enjoy those roads of National Party significance, drive up and down them, make the most of them, because know that every time you're putting the pump in your car, holding the handle, pressing the button, putting it into your car, you are paying for all those roads that the National Party want north of Hamilton. That is not fair on New Zealanders around, or New Zealanders all over this country. It's not fair on the whole country. This is a tax, and it is a hidden tax. It's a tax on the whole country, and everyone's going to be paid to help balance the National Party's budget. And that's what it is. It's balancing the National Party's budget to try and, so they can hopefully in 2014-15 come up with a tiny little minute surplus. Tiny little minute surplus, and that's what it's all about, is to try and balance the books. And New Zealand First does not go along with it, does not go along with it. It is unfair.
Mr. Speaker.
Chris Ockenvale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I commend this bill to the House.